Well, it's the morning of June 29th, and here we are. We had a giant branch fall out of the maple tree, so hottest day of the year, we know what we're going to be doing. Getting a chainsaw to run and hauling some wood into the back. At least it didn't hit the house. So I had an amazing view of the cottonwood snow a minute ago. I don't know if the sun will blow it out completely or if you'll be able to see it. But it's, it rained all day yesterday and it's just hot, and that sun baking on that cottonwood tree is making just thick snow in the air. It's so funny. Snowing in July. Look at the massive amounts of cotton. I was going to do the garden tour this morning, but it looks like we're going to need to clean up some cotton so that it doesn't look so awful. This is a different view of the hops than what we've done previously, and I just turned around and looked at how beautiful it was. I wanted to show it, even if there is a lot of cotton laying around this morning. Yeah, it's just really starting to climb across the tops of the trellis and doing what we hoped it would do, just making that big pile and hopefully kind of blocking the view of that back fence, or at least taking your eye away from it and showing something beautiful. So I'm really excited that it's, so I'm really happy that it's, whatever, the 3rd of July, and the top of the trellis is already already that full. I can't imagine how beautiful it'll be by the end of summer, and once the actual hops start to produce, it'll be beautiful back here. All right, good morning from Gustafson's Gardens. We are celebrating the 4th of July at home and having just a quiet day. We are lucky that the cloud cover came over, so we can do a garden tour and maybe get it in before the cottonwood loses its mind this afternoon. It is starting already, but we got some of it cleaned up so that it doesn't look quite so ridiculous. And yeah, I've got Bill. I've got Bill home with me, and it's already snowing. He's pointing out the crazy snow coming in our way. So that's okay. We get about a 20-minute gap in between mowing and when it starts to look terrible again. So yeah, we've got the garden dog out with us. He went and got a toy out of the garage, and for the first time we have our lawn furniture, or our patio furniture, I guess I should say, out from under the cover. It's not raining this minute, and we will probably hang out and sit out on the patio this afternoon, although it's really hot right now. But yeah, we built that couch last year. Patio furniture is just too expensive, and so we found a plan, I think, on Pinterest. Yep. And then purchased some, we purchased the cushions at Home. Is that the name of that store? And yeah, it's just been a great addition to our patio, and so much more comfortable. We were always using those like anti-gravity chairs, which are fine, but it's nice to have a couch to sit on. So we can start up here on the patio and just look at some of the really fun stuff that's growing up here. This is really taken off and it's just so beautiful. Oh, here, these are starting to, I think this, oh, it got broken.
Oh, I bet I broke it.
I bet Bill broke it with the blower when he was trying to but that's okay. It'll do all right. But these are the snapdragons in this pot that, I think they're red. I think these are red, and I think those are going to be white. So we're going to have just like the red and white theme, which I hope is really, really beautiful. Turns out nice. This is starting to sort of take over this. This is the problem with cottonwood in our garden. Any of these plants that have like the fuzzy texture, like petunias and even the calendula, they have that fuzzy texture, and the cottonwood sort of sticks to it. I always worry that that is going to block out enough of the sun to, we have had it choke out some petunias in the past That's why I don't grow a lot of them, but hopefully these can recover. If I keep a close eye on them, I can kind of come to wash the plants off. But we also have our wonderful little dog hunter who has alerted me to the fact that we have a chipmunk that is just being an ass on this patio. He came through and ate a bunch of seedlings that I had over here. I had started some more cilantro and stuff, and he mowed it down. So that's the little live trap that we're trying to catch him in. And then we've got the garden critter has his dad home for the 4th of July. Over here is the mortgage lifter that's right outside the door. It's getting about 5 feet tall now, which is really fun. There's, it's getting about 9 or 10 fruits on it that are getting... Oh, it's fun to have the husband home while I do this. No, it is. I'm enjoying it. Quiet down over there. I'm trying to do a video. And then next to that we have the lavender that is starting to bloom. It's looking a little weird. I think historically I've always grown the one over there, and we'll go over to that one. So this one's new to me, and yeah, we'll see. We'll see what it does. This is the baby tears or something of that nature. It all died back. I saved it over the winter, and it got really gangly in the house, and then that died back when it came back outside, and now it's got its little tiny growth coming back to it. So hopefully that'll focus. There we go. It's got its little tiny growth that's coming back to it. So I think soon it'll be all green again and recovered from that. The golden shrimp plant is looking really healthy, which is fun because I trimmed a bunch of crap off of it, and I didn't know how it was going to handle it, but it seemed to handle it really well. So this is the strawberry spinach that is in this hanging basket. I have another one that's in a basket over on the picnic table, and it is finally starting to fruit. The fruit is, yeah, I've heard mixed reviews about it. I have eaten a couple of them, so they get these little strawberry looking berries on them, and they're kind of bland. They would be great in a salad. I mean, it's, you know, that's what it talks about, is just a pretty addition to your salad, and it would be great in a salad. They taste very much like a lettuce or a spinach. I mean, they're not, the little berries don't have, like, they're a little bit sweet, but yeah, so it's cute though, growing in this little bird nest pot. I don't know what you call these, but little hanging basket that we have. We've got some of the pansies have seen better days, and they're probably on their way out. I pulled one of them out. This is a ornamental oregano that I grow. This one actually is fun. I started from seed last year, and it took 2 years for it to look like this. So it's not something that I'm having any luck starting from seed yearly. I overwintered it, and now it's finally doing this. I believe the woman at the nursery said that they do it from cuttings, that they propagate from cuttings. And this is one of theirs, which I think is a different, whatever, type of it. It's still an ornamental oregano, but that one is a Kent one, and this one is... this one's from Park Seed, and I don't think that it gives the variety on the seed package. This is the little garden dog, and he really has been spending a lot of time in between these two patios because that chipmunk is running under these two patios, so he is forever the chipmunk protector. He will keep us safe from chipmunks. I have been doing some cement projects. We do have part of the path over in the herb garden that we'll go over to in a minute here, but this was my my little addition to the pond. It's fun when the mandevilla flowers come off, then they can go in the pond and be pretty. That one maybe flopped, but that's okay. So this is one of my large hostas leaves that I just piled up some sand, put the leaf over the top of it, and then covered it in concrete. It was my first attempt, so there's issues with it. The edges are cracking, and the mandevilla is sort of starting to climb. Bill did a great job of putting a little bit more twine out. Twine is a funny word, isn't it? Twine out to have them head up because they were just really struggling with not knowing how to climb the 4x4. So this is what happens when you garden in the cottonwood. I was gardening yesterday in the cottonwood, and it just puts giant, thick carpets of cotton on your feet because they just stick from the dew and the wet grass, and you end up with these handfuls of cotton. Got this pot. It's doing really well. I added the Silver Falls. This is one of my favorite plants that I grow. Probably have 4 or 5 different ones. In middle summer, they really take off, and I think I can show you one in the main garden that just they fall over the edge of the pot, and they just prolific, beautiful trailing flowers. This garden is not a whole lot of change. The lilies should bloom soon. There's the dahlia, and I really am impressed. I know I talk about it every week, but this hosta needed this change and is doing so well with this change. So it's wonderful to see that it went from basically all summer it would be like 5 leaves over in that corner. It hated it, and now it's going to fill in and be a pretty hosta. This guy looks like, I just noticed that this guy has some burning on its leaves. I don't know why. Maybe just too hot in the sun? That's unfortunate. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there. But it's going to flower really nice. So it's one of the first hostas that's going to come up and flower. Hopefully that doesn't mean that it's stressed. And this pot, I did such a terrible job with this pot that it's so awful it's almost funny. Purple, white, and red. It just didn't go well, but you know what? It is what it is. It's pretty flowers. Over here with the water barrels, I think I finally figured out what I'm going to do. I have some really tall hostas that are back along the back fence that we kind of uncovered when we took the ferns out from back there, and I think a really tall hosta would look cute in this little hole here, and would just fill out this garden perfectly. So I'm going to grab one of those and put it out here. I was thinking too about planting some I bought a pound bag of buckwheat seeds from Johnny's Seeds, and so I have all this buckwheat that I can plant wherever I have a little spot. I mean, of course the bunny loves it, but I was thinking about planting this with some buckwheat. Just give the pollinators some fun things to play in. There's a little bit of it right here, but I planted a few little seeds of it there, and the bees come along, and the little bees and the big bees, everybody loves it. So maybe I'll do that. It'll be a cute way of filling in over there. Those little tomatoes, these guys just don't get very much sun over on this side. The sun comes slowly around over here, so you can see just a few feet away, these guys get probably an hour more sun a day than these do, and it makes a difference, makes a big difference. Now these plants were a little larger when I put them in, but it still has an impact. I found this morning. Okay, so over here I have a dilemma, and I'm not sure what to do about it. This is my first squash blossom. This is on the honey bear squash, and the problem is I don't have any male flowers open, and this is a female flower. There is a big old squash under there, and I don't have anything to pollinate it with. I don't know what to do. I don't know if I should try to rip one of the male flowers. Look at all the male flowers that are down there. I could maybe rip one of the male flowers open and try to force it to pollinate. It does look like there's a male flower over here on my, this is a zucchini plant that maybe I could pollinate. I don't know if that works. It's so sad because I would love to see that squash grow. I don't know. That's the craziest thing I've ever seen. I've never seen the
Looks
males.
like it's growing.
Here's the honey nut squash. Now, I am going to force it to grow up this trellis, whether it likes it or not. I'm going with it might not. It really is fighting me. Like every step of the way, it comes around and it just wants to shoot through the other side and not stay attached. So I've been coming out here and trying to train it to have its little tentacles grab a hold of the fence and head up the trellis. Over here are the scarlet runner beans, and wow, am I loving these. I am so excited for these to, crawl up this trellis, and they've made it almost to the top. Well, I guess they've made it to the top. Their little tentacles have made it to the top, but once they're flowering up there, it's so pretty. I'm loving the color, and hopefully the beans taste as good as the flowers look. Stelbies are starting to bloom. I've got this dark pink plus this beautiful white. The little tiny pollinators love it. They're all over in it. And it's such a neat plant. I wish I had some more room for having more of them, but they are kind of big. And this one is getting pretty old, probably 5 years old. And so I don't know if I need to start dividing that or not. I do have a tiny goat's beard down here that, is apparently in the same family as the Astelbe, but I think this is the first year that he is going to bloom and that I've done a good job of keeping. There used to be a ground cover over here that didn't live through the winter, and I'm okay with that. So yeah, it's a really, really cute little plant. Just a short, stout little, 8 inches tall. So cute. And oh wow, look at that. This is the first time seeing it too. The Redskin Dahlias from Baker Creek seeds. And the first flower. Oh, that is stunning. It's like pinky peach purple on the outsides with yellow in the middle. Wow, that's a really neat flower. Tuck him so that we can see him a little better. And just a tomato update, I guess. We've got all kinds of crazy growth on the tomato plants back here. I have had to do a lot of staking and finagling to try and get them to stand up straight and straighten up and fly right. The beautiful part back behind here is it's the race between the tomato plants and the cannas, and the cannas are really starting to come up. They'll get very tall and they'll fill in this whole area with beautiful tall foliage and red flowers on them. They're just kind of a really old traditional. I dig them up every year, so these bulbs have been around for quite a few years now. So I found a bean plant back by the back trellis that I am positive I thought this was a bush bean and not like a climbing pole bean, but I found it climbing through all of the plants back there. So I brought it up here since there's so much room on this trellis and everything back there is really starting to take off. So we'll see if it just happened to grow a couple of tentacles or exactly what's happening with it, but it doesn't look like the Kajari melons. I found a beetle on the Kajari melons this morning. I just don't know how well they're going to do. Sorry for the camera shake. I got bit by a mosquito. I found, I had started this Morning Glory, in March, and then it was in a pot back on the growing table, and I decided to give it a home, and so something's going to grow on the side of the trellis, whether it likes it or not. The calendula is a crazy, crazy grower, and he got told to straighten up and fly right. So I put a stake in and tied him up because he was falling over and almost hitting the ground over here. It was crazy. I have been harvesting the flowers, and I have the flowers inside drying so that I can make some oil or some salve, or I think that that's really helping. I had a terrible bug bite yesterday, and I put a little bit of the oil that I had made previously on it, and it immediately felt better. So it's wonderful when I can find something that actually works with my crazy sensitive skin. These are all, what is there, 17 tomato plants in this little world over here. I came through and staked up the ones that need to be staked up, but there is a lot of fruit set that's already gone on over here, and we're gonna get some really neat tomatoes out of here. We've got the 4th of July tomatoes, we got little currant tomatoes down there. This is my experimental brandy wine that is setting fruit already. That's great to see. Yeah, just some really neat. Also, this is our lemon sunflower that that is flowering and just really fun. There's 2 other ones that are going to open now. This is the mammoth sunflower, so he should keep growing and isn't even thinking. Well, let's take a look here. Is he thinking about growing a head? Oh, he is. Well, that's fun. I don't know how tall they get. I just know that the heads are really, really big on them. Here is, well, the echinacea. Looks like that's going to start opening soon. We've got 3 plants. There's actually one that these tiger lilies has taken over here, which they might need to come out. But these are some, I mean, I don't think that there's any of my lilies that I don't like, but these are some of my such beautiful colors. The orange middles with the red, and then the just bright red taller ones in the background is such a beautiful flower, such a beautiful arrangement of flowers too. I don't know what these are. You know, every year it's like Christmas. You know, you have to come back and try to remember what's going to come up there, and I'll be totally honest, I don't know what those are. So they kind of look yellow. That would be a surprise to me. This garden is also starting to fill in very nice. Some of the stuff is starting to do really well with the warmer days and the probably warmer evenings. So I've got some, this is my first time growing this, and these are, I don't know how much I've talked about it because they looked like crap earlier, but they are finally starting to grow. They are, what are they, Bill? Chinese lanterns? Chinese lanterns, and he used to grow them when he was a kid. We found the seeds this spring at, well, it doesn't matter. I think we were at Gerton's. And yeah, so they've been little starts, but they must just be that type of plant that needs the warm nights in order to excel. These are some of the more of the Baker Creek dahlias that are starting to really grow and hopefully going to fill in that little empty area there. And just the tiger lilies that took over the world over here, and they really did. I didn't ever plant a tiger lily over here, so somehow one of the seeds got over here a few years ago, and they are almost invasive, how much they grow. There's a pot of flowers down under here that they're kind of choking out, and some hostas and things back there that they're choking out. Some of my zinnias, though, are starting to open and bloom, and just so pretty, so beautiful, with all the different variations of colors. This is like a mauve-y purple that starts out with a lime green in the middle, and then comes into these gorgeous flowers. They're just so fun, and the pollinators love them. The impressive growth of the castor beans this last week has just been amazing. There's these giant leaves. They're getting probably almost 18 inches across them, and just getting tall and beautiful. I'm really excited that I found that pot for those because they need a lot of dirt. The bigger the growth area that they're in, the bigger the leaves. So if you have a small pot, you're going to get small leaves and small plants, but if you have a really big pot, you'll get really big plants. I have tried to grow them in the ground years past, and they never did very well. It's like they just didn't compete well with the plants around them. So yeah, being in the pot there is doing really well. more of my zinnias that are so tall and so crazy that I had to stake these two. It's been a theme of garden staking. These really neat just before they open. That one's a little bit progressed longer than just the cute little ball of stripes. So pretty. Excuse the yelling neighbors. They're just enthusiastic about something. This is a plant that I've talked about, but it's a late bloomer. So yeah, we're looking at 4th of July today, and it's finally in the garden where you can see it. If anybody knows what that plant is, I would love to know the name of it, because I don't know. I bought it from someone 10-15 years ago. I don't have a tag for it, and it gets it gets the height of the fence, and it gets little yellow flowers on the tops of it. It's a beautiful, airy, fun, high, it gives the garden some height. The weird thing about it is it smells like skunk, which, as you know, will possibly make the neighbors think that you're smoking pot in your garden. I don't smoke pot in my garden, but I'm pretty sure they think I do. This is my Stella Dior Daylily, and I don't know exactly. It looks like, sorry for my shadow, it looks like something's been laying in the middle of it, which of course it hasn't. I'm not sure why it's so struggling. Maybe it needs to be divided, and that could be a lot of these daylilies. I'm sure could use a dividing. And these are more, ooh, I almost fell. These are more dahlias that are starting to bloom and fill in. This one should bloom any day now. I just love dahlias. They're just such a fun plant to grow. Some more zinnias. I'm excited for having these zinnias so close to the milkweed back here. We should really be able to pull in a lot of butterflies and get just a healthy variation of butterflies in the garden this year too. Just having a little bit more pollinator friendly plants. Over here, the giant elephant ears are really taking off in this pot. So this pot was really fun. We had this lobelia growing at the base. I don't know if the lobelia will live once the elephant ears take off and start shading it. Maybe they won't, but it'll be neat to see this beautiful plant. Isn't it just beautiful? It's just a showy flower. I don't do anything to them. I water them once in a while. You don't have to deadhead. You don't have to trim them back. They don't get tall and lanky. I have probably 3 of them around in the garden, and they just do really well. Here is the other Silver Falls starting to fill in and do really well. Along with that, I have 2 that are just alone in these pots that I started from seed this year, and I didn't think that they would take off as well as they have, so I just kind of had them over here as a sort of a nursery garden area so that I could see what they would do, and I'm really impressed. They'll probably get moved out of here. Sorry about that. So they'll probably get moved out of here and somewhere where they'll be seen a little bit better, or, be able to trail down, because they really will. They'll trail down, 6 feet if you give them that height, so. And this hydrangea is starting to bloom. So beautiful. Just a little group of them. I don't really want that to ever get any bigger, like the ones in the back that have lost their minds and gotten 8 feet across to them. I'm going to keep this one trimmed back so that it's just a small little group of, but I love the white. The white is so showy in the garden. And the other side of the of course, of the elephant ears is the striking loosestrife that's just blooming like crazy, and just a very, very beautiful, healthy plant. So it's fun to see. I know that it won't bloom forever, but I'm impressed. It's been at least 2 weeks now that it's been blooming. Over here is you get to see over here a little bit of the cottonwood hell. We're really right under the tree, and there's just nothing that we can do. We could try to use the leaf blower and blow it out of here, but basically all that would make is like a cotton hurricane, right? I mean, it just Bill just walked by. It just wouldn't do any good. So again, you can just see the big balls of cotton that are in everything, and they really do start to cause problems over here. They'll actually sort of cover the ground, and then when the rain comes, they wick the water off of it. It has a hard time soaking in. So once it gets that thick and we get a heavy rain, then we kind of have to come through and scrape all of that crap off of the top of the soil in order to get the soil to absorb moisture again. But things are still growing really well over here. I've got oregano, a cinnamon basil. I'm gonna have to look at that one. Oh, well, this is just some type of basil, spicy basil maybe. And then the normal sweet basils are in the back there. And then this one I think is the spicy basil, and that's a globe basil. And is a Tiny Tim tomato. I will be honest, this one I grew from seeds. This one I bought at the nursery. There's 2 in this little pot. So Bill is going to come in and he's going to help me by pulling the plant back gently like that, because the fun part is there are tomatoes that are ready to pick. They are the first tomatoes that are going to come out of the garden. I think there's 3 of them. And there they are, the first tomatoes that are ripe and ready to go. All the mint and sage and lemon balm and things like that are all over here. Mostly on the other side are the basils and things like that. I have a whole little collection of chamomile in the house, and I've been drying that, and it's been doing well. Back here, I actually just saw, this is fun that I just saw, we have our first flower on my eggplant. So we should have some eggplants coming up soon. Over here are my pepper plants. Now I did plant 4 little starts of jalapenos over in my other garden because these were struggling. They are not struggling as bad as they were. Obviously, there's this little one that I don't know what's wrong with it. And I'm just going to leave it, and that's fine. But we're finally getting some jalapenos that are forming on here, so that's great. That's perfect. I just noticed the other day, this is it's called a garden salsa pepper. And I've been trying to find some information on it, but it has a whole bunch of fruit already formed on it. Look at some of these peppers. They're huge. So we're going to have to try them. Hopefully that they really are good in salsa. Now I just need some more tomatoes, but that looks like it's going to be a prolific guy too. He's got a lot growing on him, so that'll be fun. And then over here I've got my snap peas, and look at how many peas are on there. So I think today or tomorrow I'm for sure going to be able to have a big snack of peas. Here's the little buckwheat that I planted in the corner, and I planted this probably early May, and you know what, the bees love it. Of course, right this minute there are no bees in it, but I put a little bit more in there just so that this can get maybe cut down, and then we'll put some more in there. We can mulch this up and throw it in the compost, but it's a fun plant. Over here is one of my other mortgage lifters, and you can see that this guy has a ton of fruit setting on him too. He's probably got the same amount, 8 or 10 of them. He's got a lot less foliage than the other one, but I'm really excited for this flower. And yes, I'm excited. Where did it go? These flowers are huge. And they all seem to be starting fruit on them. So I'm thinking that there's going to be some gigantic fruit on this plant. Here's the zucchini plants that finally took off. Again, this heat at night must be just making this stuff explode. So that's a Market More and a really loud bird over my shoulder. A robin. So this is a Market More. This is the lemon cucumber, and then this is the I don't know, the 76 one, the straight 76 or something. These are the ground cherries. I have them planted in 6 different places just to see if I can. I'm really excited for them. I know how it is when you're excited for a plant, that you're going to struggle with it, so I put it in a whole bunch of different places hoping that something would survive, and they all seem to be doing rather well. So and then over here are the giant tomatillo, baseball sized tomatillos that are growing in the garden there. This is my baby bottle gourd that is really loving the trellis, and the cucamelons, they're finally starting to take off. Tomorrow they might be tall enough. I was going to ask Bill to maybe tie some, I could do it, tie some twine to the trellis to give them a way to train up the trellis, but I'm sure they're going to find it. Got this garden with the bee balm. It almost looks like the bee balm is thinking about blooming soon. But it just is filling in really nice over here. That in years past it's been sparse and it's been, you know, it looks like a struggle, but this year it's filling in great. These are the hostas that I found that I'm going to dig up a little clump of them and go put them over where that other rain barrel was, because I think that they'll be nice and tall and they'll fill in that area really nice without overtaking that hosta next to them. A lot of the junk ends up is the remnants of the tree from out front. So we've got the branches here to kind of break down and, you know, let the leaves die back, and apparently let the chipmunk have somewhere to live, because I think he's been hanging out in there if Tank is giving any indication. So alright, so that's pretty much a garden tour wrap for the day. Happy 4th of July. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the tour. Let me know if you have any questions, and enjoy your day.